Hello everyone, today on the bench we have a very basic Gotek floppy emulator. If you don't know what these are, it plugs into your floppy port and replaces a floppy drive on a old computer that has floppies. And what it allows you to do is plug in a thumb drive with disk images on it, and you can kind of press the buttons to select through a list of images which one that you want to load as an emulated disk, which is pretty convenient. However, this is the most basic form of it. It's the only one I can currently get on Amazon for a good deal, and it's extremely limited in its display capabilities, and it's a pain in the ass to use. And the newer ones actually have an OLED display here, and they have a rotary knob to do selecting, and we can actually modify this one to put these parts in and make it a hell of a lot easier to use. So that's what we're going to do today. Exciting. Now, my original intentions with this were to drill a hole in the existing case and file out the display, but then I noticed online I was able to get a 3D print file, so we're going to throw this in, print it in some PLA, nothing fancy. I'm just going to do gray, and now I don't have to drill these holes or anything, which is pretty cool. And it has everything I need to mount my display in, so I'm pretty happy about that. So let's print this thing. Of course I'm not using official Bamboo Labs PLA. They'd have to sponsor me for that, so I could get it for free. Hell, why we print that out, let's open up this old one. So I'm just printing out the bottom, which has the front attached to it. This top piece we'll keep. I'll reuse. And I just noticed the other one has a spot for another LED, I believe, so I'm going to add, yeah, this one's got terminals for it too, so we'll add a second LED there for whatever that's supposed to be for. Well, it's a two-colored LED. So, yeah, here it is. Here's our board. So it's just literally resting in here. Easy peasy. So we won't be using this anymore. We will keep the top. And we'll be adding this new OLED screen. Which is a 0.91 inch. It's looking for it's an SD something rather. They're super common. I use them all the time with Arduinos. And this is just a cheap basic rotary encoder, push button. So first thing I'll want to do is solder these on so I can plug that harness into it later. Which I'll have to use a different harness actually. Let's get the soldering iron on. So for our rotary encoder, we can get all of our signals from here. And that is what we shall do. So what I'm going to do is just sacrifice some of these connectors here. I don't want them to be too long. So just kind of cut them like that. I can reuse those for other projects. In fact, I don't even think I need this many. I think I only need 4. And that is correct. I only need 4. Okay. Start by tinning these terminals. So we'll add this little jumper because it needs to be jumpered. While I'm here, I might as well do the other two. Now, it doesn't matter what colors you use as long as you keep track of where they're going, where they need to be. Alright. Those aren't going anywhere. Now we're going to jump the negative to this other terminal here. Just a little curl there. Now we'll solder our negative. I'm going to need some more solder. Okay. And then our switch. So there we go. Got the black as our negative, which is working as a common on here. If I push the push button, it shorts to the white, sends negative back on the white, which is the switch input. If I turn this right or left, it sends negative between the two. Well, sort of in theory, that's the best way for you to understand how that rotary encoder works. But it's actually sending pulses every time you do that. That's a whole different story or video, which I am not going to get into today. So now, where do they go on here? Well, I'll tell you. Negative is going to be this pin here. And it looks like it might be easier for me to desolder this stuff on here because it's covering all the holes. There we go. Take that off. Okay, so looking at the board this way, our negative goes into this one. The one above it is 5 volts. We do not want that. Our switch input is the JK there. And then our clock input would be the blue that I've wired. That is going to go to the top middle one. And then our DT, which is purple here, that is going to go between these two. And I'll put links to all the diagrams and GitHubs and everything where you can get the software that we're eventually going to load onto this thing. And there you go. So now we have our rotary encoder installed. The next thing we need to do is the screen, which I can't reuse this because the pinouts aren't the same. It's not going to work for me. So I've got new cables that are way too long that we'll just have to kind of loop in the case. So we'll go ground and VCC. To try and keep a nice color code. Black is obviously ground. That will go to here like so. Black is negative, which is the pin that's farther back. As you can see, it's got a 90 there. VCC is the one in front. And And we'll go clock, be purple, SDA will be gray. So on this side, SDA is the rear, clock is the front. And there we go. Well, we're still printing out our piece. Looks like I got a little bit of lift in that corner. I'm going to have to check my settings, but this is PET G that's been sitting in here for over a year without any kind of dehumidification or heating. So that's pretty good. Alright, so now we're going to go to the Flash Floppy GitHub. This is the firmware I'm going to use. You can use whatever you want, but this one's really popular, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to download the latest release, which I just did. And according to the instructions, because I have never flashed this before, and because I have the Artery style controller, I need to insert this jumper here to put it into programming mode. So this is a one-time thing because it's the first time. Once you want to update it, you don't have to do this jumper anymore. So obviously I'm going to reuse this wire again. So I'm just going to temporarily solder this in. Doesn't have to be perfect. I am, while I'm here, going to snip these ones down because they're bothering me. These are permanent. And won't sit into the case properly if they're too long. These ones, we're going to pull this out after. So now we're ready to program. What we're going to need next is a USB-A to USB-A cable. These are, I bought one off of Amazon. Maybe they'll have one laying around. I'm going to have one now. This is only like $5, so it's not a common thing to find an A to A cable. So you're probably going to have to buy one just to do this if you're following along. So our next step, we're going to go download the ISP drivers and Artery programming utility from the Artery website. So we want the ISP programmer. Okay, now let's go the programmer. We're not going to restart the computer. This is 2025, for God's sakes. Okay, so we've got our programmer. We'll go back to our instructions here. So we're in English mode. So I'm going to plug in this USB cable now. Let's see what happens. Oh, I heard a sound. Close this program, open it again. Let's run a USB DFU. It looks like it's found my Gotek. Yes, it has been found. Click the next button. You'll have a screen with many options. The device is access protection, and the device will limit the use of some functions. Okay, it's not good. This does not match up to what I'm seeing here. Need to erase the old firmware and disable flash protection. Okay, now we're at the right screen. So we want to disable access protection. Yes. Failed to open DFU device. Okay. Okay, well that time it worked. Great. So now we can go back. Download to device is our next step. And click Add and select the appropriate hex file from the Flash Floppy release archive. So we're going to add into the hex. So I have a AT32F415, and that's what I'm going to open. They don't have that. Just going to copy the options I see here. I don't see optimize checked. It just said verify after download. That's the only thing they have selected here. So hit next. There'll be another warning. Hit OK. Operation finished successfully. So you can now disconnect the Gotek and remove the programming jumper. Okay, well, let's remove it. We will remove our temporary jumper now. And there we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly give this thing a test. We're gonna hook 5 volts up to it because that's all it needs. And I'm just gonna do this on the bench power supply. So we'll go this direction. Just kind of have this propped so you can see it and see what happens. Boom! Flash Floppy! Version 3.44. So if I push the button, there we go, main menu, MCU info, factory reset, figure, blah, 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 blah. Exit. MCU info. There we go. Okay. Well, that's cool. How about we throw a bunch of image files on a flash drive and see what happens? We'll check back on the 3D print. Those edges are definitely raising up like I saw there. That's not good. I'm gonna have to look into that. I believe that's a fan issue. So I have a thumb drive inserted, formatted for FAT32. I've got a bunch of DOS images in here, and I threw a bunch in with long file names too, just to see what happens. At first I was kind of making them small, but I'm curious to see what will happen with these ginormous file names. So let's plug it in, and you shall see what happens. Oh, it's seeing that long file name. That's good. So can I just... Oh yeah. So if I go to that one, I push on it. Is that it? It's good to go. Oh, yeah. I think that's great. Yeah, as long as it says eject, that means that it's loaded, and you just push it to eject. So that's cool. Next, we'll have to try it in the system, but we'll wait till our 3D print is complete. Well, I am not impressed with how this turned out. You can see it's very kittywampus. It's not level. So I'm printing another one with some different settings and some PLA. This is PETG. I've had a lot of success with it until recently it started to kind of have these issues. Oh, look at that. And it's been sitting out for a long time, so I think I need to dry it. So we'll wait for this one to finish. There's another 7 minutes on it, and I did find a top cover to also print with this. And I've got a bit of an idea for a version 2.0 that we'll have to do at another point, because I need a couple parts to do it, but I've been brainstorming. But looks like here my corners are not raising up. I set the bed temperature much higher, and I turned off the auxiliary cooling fan, and it looks so far like everything looks pretty level and good on it. So I'm pretty happy about that. So let's let that finish. Okay, and here's the one I just printed with matte black PLA, and it's much better. Perfectly even. A little string there, but yeah, that turned out perfect. I'm happy with that. So let's get everything installed. I might have to drill this out. Oh no, I do not have to drill it out. Let's put that in place for now. We'll tighten it up a bit later. Seems my LEDs are not meant to be. So that clicked in perfectly. Now for the LEDs. I didn't show you me adding this one. It's actually a pink LED. I've got so many of these pink ones kicking around. It's fun to use them in strange places or unexpected places. Wow, I never trimmed the legs on that. So that green one just happened to have giant legs on it. That's offset a bit, but it works. And now for the screen. Now, will it just fit? Because these screens don't all come exactly the same. So whatever this guy's designed it for, you can see it's a bit off on the length. I almost need a chunk removed from this thing. So I might have to trim some of it off. It's not the... It's like the entire length of the board is too long. It needs to be right in there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some dremeling. Actually, I need to take quite a lot more off than I thought. So there we go. That's a big bump. But that gets it. So that will be it. Now I just need to hot glue it. Not really my favorite type of adhesion, but it'll work today. Oh yay, hot glue. Not my favorite thing. A big mess. Oh man. I kind of goop a big chunk of it here to protect it. I don't like that. That is a bodge. I don't like using this glue ever either, but and I touched it and wrecked it. Put a big chunk down there. That's sitting on a big angle. Alright, so let's tuck everything in. I did end up just soldering the wires directly to the board because it's going to be too high with those connectors. Oh, looks like this popped off. So we should have our gray on top, purple on the bottom. Just kind of tuck them like that. There we go. And we'll wait for that top case to print out. Let's tighten these up. I'll tighten this up using my proper wrench here, of course. This will do though. We'll Put this beautiful knob on. There we go. So everything lines up nice. Got this bodge on the side that I filled with glue just to kind of protect it. So the top piece is printing now, and I'll have to do another little notch there as well, which is annoying. Anyone else that's doing this, I would recommend, if you have the ability, just to shift this display over about the width of this outer, so I'd say 1/8 of an inch to that direction, and it would be perfect. So there's enough room between the boards here. So now that will be in my 2.0 version, which I'm thinking of adding underneath this. I want to shift it over and then up as high as I can, which I think I can get probably another 1/8 of an inch or so. And that will gain me a space to insert an SD card slot here underneath, and I'll have one of those extension, the female like SD card slot there with the ribbon cable that comes out to an IDE to SD card adapter, which I will extend this because this is not the true length of a floppy. It's actually it's 150 millimeter, or sorry, yeah, 150 millimeters. So it would be up to about here. Oh, sorry, right there. So I would have that much extra case that I'll print out, and underneath I'll mount the board with the IDE controller and have the connector for it right here. Jump power, so we'd have a single power source that does both, and redo the cover to leave a little gap there for it, and then that way I can have my SD card for the hard drive on here as well, because I need it. One of my projects, I don't have room in the ISA slot for it, and I want it to be accessible. So, and I also need that last ISA slot for something else. So that's a future project. And one of the greatest parts of having a Bamboo Labs printer is that you can go like this. So our 40-minute time here, let's change it to sport mode. Let's see how that brings it down. 31 minutes. And you can see the head is moving a lot faster now. Now we could go to ludicrous mode if we really wanted to. Well, here we go. Got the top cover plate ready to go here, except for notching on our ugly side. Pretend it never happened, but I guess everybody here knows. That's fine. I can still pretend. Oh yeah, that was meant to be. Well, here it is, folks. Let's plug my thumb drive in. Turn power on. And there we go. Focus. So we can change it. There we go. Or on whatever disk we want to be on. And this thing's ready to go. Here's what it used to look like. And here's what it looks like now. So that's cool. Obviously, you could just buy the version like this. It's probably more cost effective, but these screens you can literally get for like $2 on AliExpress. And the same with this thing, it's like $1 or $2. I posted some Amazon links for you, but AliExpress is the way to go, especially if you buy multiples. I had a bunch of these in my drawer and a bunch of these in my drawer for other projects. So this really didn't cost anything for me. I already had the PLA. The reason I bought this Gotek is literally it's the only one available at the time on Amazon in Canada. Seems to be a shortage of the ones with the rotary knobs. I think you can get them on AliExpress. But I already bought this one, so whatever. But yeah. There it is. I'm not too proud of this. I would definitely edit the file next time to accommodate that notch. But the next version of this, I'm going to experiment with throwing an IDE to SD card reader in as well. Have it all combined. So keep an eye out for that video. Don't know when that'll happen, but it'll be sometime in the near future. Again, thanks for watching. If this kind of stuff floats your boat, then give me a subscribe and a thumbs up and let me know about it in the comments section. Thanks.